Well, Jerry, we're back here tonight for the shirt sponsor draw this evening and the sponsor tournament. It's not been long since the season has ended, but have you managed to enjoy your break at all?
Enjoy, yeah. I actually do in a perverse way. I really do, Matt. It's, I think if you'd said to me 5 years ago we enjoy working with budgets and talking to agents and then negotiating with players, and me and Paul sitting in the office for hours and hours going through the budget and trying to fit in a squad of 18 into our figures, I'd have probably said no, because I want to be a coach. But I really enjoy that. I love the management side of it as well. Nothing better than when you get a player over the line and get a deal done, like we've seen a couple. I've got to say it's probably the trickiest market I've worked in since I've become manager, just purely because of the amount of clubs in close proximity to us now. So, as you know, there's a couple of those in Torquay and Yeovil that are full-time, so it's not necessarily the financial package, which does come into play, of course, but it's the offer of being able to offer a young player or a player full-time training. So that's the challenges we've got. But yeah, it seems like a long time ago when the season finished. I've got to be honest with you. I did manage to get away for a few days, but it's only in this country, and it was some walks and runs and some nice food and just clearing the head a little bit. And there was no reception where I was. That was refreshing. So now it's back into the thick of it. Yeah, it's not really stopped, and I don't think it will, probably up until the first day of pre-season. But we're getting there.
How important is that from a manager's perspective? You go through so many emotions throughout the course of a season, players as well, to take that time and sort of reflect, but also recharge, I suppose, ahead of what is going to be another year, and all of those emotions come the same.
Yeah, I think it's key. I think it's key really, because for 10 months of the year we are going through that whole roller coaster of emotions on a match day for sure. I think for myself, really, I do find it difficult to switch off, I'm being honest, and I think most managers will say the same. When you've got a passion for the game and a love for the game, even myself, I've been off and watched most of the playoff games in the league below, watched the playoff games in our league. I went to Wembley and watched the National League final, which was a wonderful game. For a coach to watch that tactically, to see those two teams going out, two wonderful teams. Congratulations to Luke Williams, who I know well. Of course, Ryan Harley's there as well as his assistant, and they played some wonderful football. Really, really, really good game, and ebbed and flowed. And then, of course, you watch the games on the TV as well. So you're watching Sheffield Wednesday last night, and you're seeing that, and you're thinking, wow, what a job Darren Moore must have done with that group being 4-0 down to pull them back in. So you're thinking about the game all the time, but the main thing for us, and obviously the main focus, is ensuring that we have a squad, or a core of a squad, that I can work with of last year. Quite a few of them have been in negotiations with other teams. I'm going to be totally honest about that, and I expected it, but I also trust in what we do, and I think sometimes even a player needs to sort of exercise that, have a little look and think what else may be out there, and I trust what we give as a product, trust what we do in training, trust what we deliver here on a match day, and the way we treat our players as a football club as well. So it's not a comfortable situation, because it's out of your control, but we have to be realistic with it.
We sort of spoke about it at the back end of last season, with all of those sides now down here. Whilst it makes it very exciting for local derbies and all the supporters, how difficult does it make it for you? Because I suppose every player has the choice of 6 or 7 clubs that they could go to. What do you think is the main sort of sell from your end for this club, really, to players?
Yeah, and different clubs have different attractions, won't they? And it's like, I've never belittled any other club in this league. They're in it on merit, and obviously the two that have come down are going to have really good budgets. Two managers I know really well. Mark I went to school with down at Yeovil, so I spoke to Mark quite a bit. He's at all the games I'm at, so he's doing his homework already. So, and Gary knows this league inside out. They're both trying to keep their core of their squad, but like I said, their attraction is obviously that they've got National League players there already, but they've got a full-time programme. What we can offer is, as I said, people know how I work, how our staff work now. People know when they turn up at Twerton, and that's gone against us, what a great atmosphere it can be. Teams raise their game when they come here. The crowds have been phenomenal. To have 1,700 against Oxford City, and to beat them, by the way, and take 4 points off the team that's been promoted into the National League is not a bad thing. And I think the way that it's just grown the club on and off the pitch, it continues to do that. And as I said, end of last season, we were really pleased with our finish. To win the Somerset Premier Cup, and to finish 11th was no mean feat, having what we'd gone through. So now it's almost like, well, let's hope, and I don't think it'll ever happen. The bad luck we had last year, We're not going to get that, I'm hoping, next season. So the key to our group always is, if we don't have too many injuries, we're going to be very strong. But when we do get our injuries, obviously it challenges us, because we can't have a squad of 18, 19, 20. But players know what we're all about. Even the conversation I've had with players I've made offers to who've not been here before, they may have come as an opposition player. They know what Bath City is about, and you have to trust that.
How do you reflect on the season? It started so high, there were obvious lows within it, there were really difficult times. From a manager, I'm sure it's probably the most unique season that you'll ever face, and from a fan's perspective, probably one of the most unique seasons they'll ever witness. How do you look at it now, being only really a couple of weeks removed, but how do you reflect on the season as a whole?
Well, I do look at it as a whole. I have to look at performance, obviously, because performance is everything for your team. You can have the best players in the world, but the performance defines your team, I think, and is setting the environment so that they allow players then to go and perform at their best. And I thought we did that. I thought the pre-season was really good. The moment that we all know that affected us was November the 8th, and it was one of the toughest things that I think I've ever, not really had a chance to talk about it too much because we've only ever spoke about games, but I think it's one of the toughest things I've ever witnessed in football, as a player or as a manager. And it really, I don't think we realised how much it affected us as a group, staff, players, supporters. There was a lot of supporters in the ground that night as well, and that really did affect a lot of supporters. So I've reflected on that and realised and made a realisation that that night, being 5th in the league, and my two main strikers that I'd signed were on 21 goals, and Scott Wilson hadn't really got firing then, and look what a finish Scott Wilson had to the season in 26 goals. We got it right with our recruitment. So I can't look at it and go, we finished 11 outside the playoffs, we didn't get it right. We did. We got our recruitment right. And the bit of bad luck we had was the injuries. And what I'll take from that is I probably have to look at robust players. We have to be honest with players, some of the players, and say, look, we're needing 30 games off you, 35 games. Players I'm talking to, being really careful, looking at their history with injuries, doing our due diligence. You have to do that more than ever on character. The character was really good in the group. I thought that, fantastic. And at a crucial time when we needed to pull together, it was definitely there. And even then, we got close to the playoffs. I remember going down to Worthing on that wonderful run we were on of 10 games and 20 points, and we go to Worthing, and I mean, that goal we scored down there from Cody was phenomenal. You know, that bit of play in the middle of the park, and then Sonny Cox down the right wing, cross for Cody. I look back on all those little moments and think, crikey, that was a team that was right on top of it. And of course, then we lose 3 players. And then we find it tough, but we finish the season really strong. Credit to the players. So that shows the resilience and the character in the group for sure. So I knew really we only had to add to it with 3 or 4, but the challenge is keeping the ones that we want to keep. And that's not quite there yet. That will continue to be there, continue to work on it. And if we manage to do that and bring in the 3 or 4 we want, we'll be competitive. But I have to say, I think it's probably going to be the toughest league, I think, for probably 5 or 6 years. It really is. And that's not saying it to dampen spirits or to lower expectation, because we all want to come here and win. We can't win every week. It's not reality, that. But we have to realise that the league is going to be very tough. But whilst it's tough, wow, there's going to be some brilliant games. So Yeovil here already, Torquay. I get excited about it now, thinking about it. So I'm sure the fans are as well, and we'll make sure generally in those games we're pretty damn competitive, and those are the ones I'm really looking forward to.
You sort of touched on it there. I would think sort of 2 almost defining moments of the season, and both really coming against Dulwich to an extent. They both highlighted the moments with Fletch and everything that happened with that, but then fast forward a few months to the game, which was arguably the best atmosphere of the season and one of the most enjoyable games of the season. When you look at that and you speak of the togetherness of the group, but also the supporters, it was something that was immediate, the reaction from the fans as soon as everything that had come out following the incident in the first Dulwich game. How important is it for you to have those fans with you throughout the season and working together, really?
Massive. Without that connection, we have to keep building on it. We have to keep connecting. There has to be a connection between players and fans. It doesn't work if there isn't. As I said, we try and win every game we possibly can. We never go out really to draw a game. We never go out to say it's going to be a difficult game. We might set up tactically different, and we're going to have to against some of these sides because they're going to be full of quality. But generally we go out to try and win it. And I understand at times, you know, there's some games where we're not creating as many chances as we probably like to, and the crowd needs something. But I think it's key, really. If you think back to that Dulwich night, we spoke about it earlier, when Scotty scores, and before that, it was phenomenal. The atmosphere, the roar over the far side. There's no better place than Twerton Park when it's on top, and it's on top form like that. And it's key. We want to get closer to the fans. I want to. The players definitely want to. We're always open. You know that. I've said all the time. Any fan that wants to come and have a discussion, anyone wants to come and watch our training sessions, we're really open as a group. There's nothing to hide. In fact, we love sharing best practice with them because we try and do things and prepare in the right way. And I think if you get preparation right, you have a really good opportunity of doing something good in the league. And if you don't and you get a bit of bad luck, then so be it. But it won't be for the want of preparing properly. We do everything as professional as we can. You know that. Pre-season's already planned. There's a couple more fixtures to add to that, hopefully, to get confirmed. And all that work was done long ago. The recruitment was done probably 6 weeks before the end of last season. We knew where we need to strengthen. The spreadsheet was done. I was out live watching players. Some of my staff were out watching players. I knew I'd need a new number 2, and that's done. So that will be announced very shortly as well. So I'm really, really happy with who I've got coming in as a number 2. And it's quite exciting for me. It's almost like a role reversal. So it's someone who was my coach back in the day, and people can guess who it may be now. But he's someone who I really respect in the game, and he's a standing figure where a lot of people will respect him. And he came and watched a game near the end of last season, and some snippets he gave me was fantastic at half-time and then afterwards as well. So he's been formed an opinion on some individuals, on how we play. And we've been in constant dialogue since then around players, types of profiles we want in the squad and how we're going to play. So loads and loads of hard work's been going on, and we'll be prepared and we'll be ready, that's for sure. We're going to crank up training again. The boys know this. They've got their close season programmes. They've gone away. They deserve a rest. Honestly, mentally, they deserve it. My group were phenomenal last year. They deserve to switch off, and I'm glad to see loads of them are off and away on their social media, making me really jealous. And so they should. So they should go away and have some fun and enjoy it and switch off. But they know when they come back in, Tuesdays are going to look a little bit different. They're going to be a bit more physical, a bit more bespoke around individual and unit practice. And then Thursdays obviously is going to be very tactical, and a Thursday is going to change. What we're going to do is incorporate the academy as well. So they're going to come across to SGS every Thursday night, and they will be working as a shape against our opposition. They'll have had the presentation beforehand, James Moon up at the college, and it means that they get an opportunity to come and train with the first team, but they'll be our opposition for 20 minutes, and then we'll break off and do our own individual work. So we've thought long and hard about that. So that's a big change in how we're going to do things. And then the boys will have their own programs in the gym afterwards on a Tuesday night as well, which will be some strength stuff, because we do look at our injuries and we think, is there something we can do about it? Well, some of them you can. The contact ones, there's not too much you can do about that. But if there's some muscular ones, then we've obviously had a little bit of an issue. So we've sat down as a group of staff and said, right, okay, how can we make this better? And there's slight improvements like that. And I'm big into that, Matt. I like seeing change. It's no good. I've been here 5-6 years now. I want to see change when I come back in to freshen my mind up. And whether it means, you haven't seen it, but I've changed my office around and a bit of feng shui going on. So my desk now faces a different way. The chairs are slightly different. I've taken down a few posters. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to make it look a little bit different. I always change it for the players. The dressing room might look slightly different in some shape or form. And I think training should as well. So that freshens everyone up. And I think then that becomes a real vibrant group looking forward to the first day of pre-season.
You talk about changes there. Let's touch on some things that have stayed the same. Some of the players that have remained in the group so far. Dan Hayfield's contract extension, it confirmed, along with Joe Rains, Kieran Barcel and Jack Batten. That is 4 very important players from last season. How pleased are you, especially when you consider the competition that was out there to get
delighted.
those ones on?
Yeah, delighted, because I think all of them have had players. I've had teams that are really interested in them, and that's genuinely, I don't say that lightly, but they've had some options to go elsewhere, and some of it might have been financially better for them. But again, the draw of this football club, and I trust in them. They trust me. I like working with them. I think they like working with me. I think they like the way the football club works, and they know. And some of them there have only done a season with us, don't forget. So for their second season, people like Kieran Parcells already spoke about this. He said you'll see a much improved version, and I thought we had a fantastic season. Dan Hayfield, don't forget, was playing in the league below, and he's come up, much like Alex Fletcher. And look what we were getting from the second season in that one as well. So I think Dan Hayfield, the way he finished the season, I felt sorry for him. I said it in my interviews. I played him out of position a lot. Needs must, I had to, but he went and done it for me. He didn't want to at times, I get that, but he just goes and does it, and that shows what a good professional he is. He's buzzing and looking forward to coming back to the football club. He had options, but he signed for us, and I'm pleased he done that. Jack Batten again, you know, this is now a player that has been around a long, long time, worked with me over my 5 years, and I think he probably had his best season I've seen for, well, since he's probably come in to work with me. I hope he comes back, and I know he'll come back flying. Jordan Dyer's had his injury problems, but he knows now how his body works part-time because he's come from the full-time programme. That's what excites me, is because there's a lot of them that went through a bit of a transition period last year, but still performed at very high level. Well, I think we'll see us go up a notch because of that. And those are the bits where I think I had to keep them together as much as I could. I'm pleased to say Danny Greenslade's also agreed. Delighted with that one. Naturally, he again has had a couple of niggles, but all these players have played over 30 games. So I'm really pleased that Danny wants to say again, he had a very good offer elsewhere, but wanted to stay at the football club, and he made that quite apparent early, so that was good. And Chris Lyons is another one that obviously has stayed. Now Chris has played over 40 games last year, probably, and he told me the other day I never expected to play 40 odd games, but he did. And it might be next year that he doesn't play 40 games. It might be we get 25 quality games from Chris Lyons. Who knows? But he's too good a player to not have in the group. He's too good a character not to have around the group as well. And yeah, he's looking forward to coming back in. He had a transition, don't forget. So whether you're 21 or 37, when you have a transition, it does affect you, and it takes you a while to bed in. And to come from full-time football and only ever known full-time football, and then suddenly have to work for a living and manage that training load, he'll be better for that as well. So there's some really positive signs already. I have to mention Ryan Clark. I think it'd be ill fit of me if I didn't. I've obviously mentioned it today in the announcement as well. And I have to say what a wonderful human being he's been. From the moment I sat in Clevedon in a cafe with him, and we were toing and froing over finance, and he was coming out of Torquay where he wasn't quite enjoying his football quite as much as he wanted to. I think he's gone on record and said it's probably been, if not his best 5 years and most enjoyable time in football. He's been a constant with us. His performance levels as a goalkeeper have been phenomenal. His workload as a goalkeeping coach and his attitude to it has been phenomenal. And I'm sad to see him go. We made him an offer, but Ryan wanted to pursue a different avenue. He wanted to be closer to home because he could get to see his boys more often. And I have to totally respect that. Of course, people have to be happy in their personal life. And I know it wasn't an easy decision for him, but he goes away with us, thanking him ever so much. We know we'll get to see him. He'll come back. He won't be a stranger. We'll stay in touch with him for sure. And I just want to thank him here and now for the amount of work he's done for me and for the football club since he's been here. So, yeah, we wish Ryan all the best.
As you've confirmed there, it's already a really good nucleus of a team that you've formed, keeping the players that you have. On top of that, Joe Rains still here, Tom Smith here as well, and Scott Wilson, who have had a fantastic end to the season, as you pointed out. Yeah,
the pleasing thing is that base is there, the spine of the team. So aside from a goalkeeper, obviously Max Harris done wonderful for us, but he's gone back and fingers crossed, I think he's going to be Cheltenham's number 2, which is great for him. He had a wonderful time with us, really good character. So that's something that I'm obviously such a key position, and the way we're going to play next year is key as well. So feelers are out on some discussions with a few there and a few agents as well. But I have to be really careful with that one. Not that I don't with normal players, but a goalkeeper is pivotal. Delighted to get Joe over the line. Again, another one who's gone through a little bit of an injury time at the football club, but coming back from that horrific injury, I think we're starting to see near the end of last season. He sort of said to me, it's clicked, my body feels good. So I know he's going to have a really good summer. I think he's got 38 holidays he's going away on. One, I think he's on a cruise now. We're doing some. He's always away, Joe, so his tan's going to be unbelievable. And no, I'm delighted to have him. I'm delighted to have him. Honestly, when Joe Rains is at his best, he's one of the best in the league at right back. So he'd be a wonderful addition. I say addition because he's re-signed him. Another one who had interest, but managed to keep him. And of that, of course, we've got Tom Smith, who I thought was looking like Tom Smith again near the end of last season. Really enjoying his football. Another one who's gone through a transition, setting up his own business, and that's never easy as well. When life changes a little bit, this is human beings we're talking about. This isn't robots, so you can't expect them to turn up every Saturday and every Tuesday and every Thursday and everything's going to be all nice and rosy. You just can't do that because life gets in the way, Matt, sometimes, and we've all got lives, and it's how you manage your life. So Tom has worked out and rightly so. He's doing a business degree, he's got himself a nice little business running, and he's found his football now to be really enjoyable. Not that it wasn't before, but he's managed to sort of get that into a priority where he's really good and feels happy, and it looks like he was in his football. So looking forward to seeing him come back. And Scott Wilson was nothing short than a revelation when we needed someone to step up, because obviously Alex missing and then Cody with a few times with his injuries. I thought he was just phenomenal, and I think he had to take a while to win some of the fans over, but in the end the quality just came through. He's such a good person, such a good person. I still speak to him throughout the summer, as I do with a lot of the experienced ones, and he's so good around the place. He'll never complain, never moan, he understands it. I mean, a conversation, for example, this will tell you about the character. I was talking about systems and shapes and spoke about how many strikers to be playing, a 2 or a 3 or a 1, and he said, Gaffer, whoever's doing the best, he said, you know, if I'm on the bench, I'm on the bench. We've got to fight for the place, and that tells you everything about him, to be honest. So delighted that he got his 26 goals. I know, again, he'll be coming from full-time into this part-time transition. So if you start to think about it, it's really exciting. And if we can get those ones over the line, the ones we want to, then we're in a really good place.
You said there about Joe Raines, Tom Smith, Jack Batten. You think of those are players that have been here for a long time, and when you're going into conversations with players that you want to bring into the club, how important is that to sort of say to them, you can become a fan favourite here and you can quickly cement yourself at this football club?
Yeah, I think people recognise that. I remember Adam Meckie coming in, and when I spoke to him, that was a bit, people said that was a random loan, but my relationship with managers in the league now and above and around, I think, is really good, and that's good that you build a network. And Adam says when he came here and played with Dorking, he recognised what a wonderful football club it was, and how the fans were great, and that was sort of drew him, really. It drew him here because he knew there'd be a good atmosphere. He knew that if he played the way I know he was going to play, was fans are fans, and in the end you've got to, if you've shown you've got a desire and you want to wear the shirt, and it may sound as basic and as old school as hell, but the old values never go out of football. The game changes, philosophy changes, but you've got to run, you've got to work hard, you've got to tackle, and that's all we ever want to see as managers. And the other bits on the end we complicate because we're coaches and managers, but in the end you've got to go and do those hard bits first. And I think here especially, if you see that and you've seen the players that do it, and you talk about those types of players there, they're players that you know pretty much what you're going to get from them week in, week out. And it is a massive draw, it really is, honestly. And when I'm thinking about characters now, I start to think about that a lot, and it's key, really. Your personnel and your character and your environment sets everything, and you won't get your performance unless you get those bits right. Recruitment is the most crucial thing. I think I've got a really good understanding of the league now and what's needed. It's not easy. It's still not easy, even though you know areas you want to strengthen. Sometimes you just can't do it because the type of player you want is not there for the type of money you've got, and it's as simple as that. So we all know it, and it continues. Twerton Park and the fans continue to be a draw for any player, and I know other managers that come here, they are really envious and jealous of it, and I feel really fortunate to be able to manage this club and to go into my 6th season doing it. My desire, my work ethic will never change from me, and I know my staff will stay the same as well. So I think that's a reflection then when you see players like that, the ones you've mentioned, that go out and do that. It's a reflection of you and what we try and produce here.
You sort of mentioned there a few hurdles that naturally come in the way of recruitment, but this still remains an ambitious club. Obviously, you're not going to be able to go into too many details when it comes to players that you're trying to recruit, but how have those conversations been going early doors? Good.
That's all you're getting from me. It's, no, I've had some really healthy conversations, I've got to be honest. It's good when you get to talk to the player, not the agent, I've got to be honest, because the agents are doing what agents do, and I think until I look a player in the eye, I can never really tell. And even then, from the first conversation, there sometimes is a facade, and I've learnt that from years gone by. There can be, you can sit in front of someone and have a coffee, and they can be what they want to be on that day, but until you meet them for the second or third time and then do your due diligence, you never really know. And yeah, the players I want to add to it, you know, you spin plates. You don't just go for one or two. You put, this is the tricky bit. This is the bit where Paul gets really nervous with me, because I'm putting out offers, and of course if all those offers come in, we're way over budget. But you have to be realistic and know that they're probably not all, well, they're not going to come in, and players are going to have offers where financially they may want to go, offers where it may be full-time where they may want to go. So I have to look at my recruitment map and think, right, okay, how far are they living away from us? All those things come into it, and yeah, it's enjoyable, but can be quite scary at times. And sometimes you have to be a little bit patient, Matt. I've learnt that. So don't just go rushing in, because the power comes back to you as a manager and as a football club in the end. At the moment, it's player power. The season's just finished. They're out there, they're going, there's all this money, and they're talking to everyone they can. But in the end, the longer it goes on, they haven't got a football club, the power then comes back to you. And you don't necessarily get left with dross because of that. You get left sometimes with players that have high quality that have probably outpriced themselves. And yeah, so we sit and wait on a few, and we will do that. And you might not even see them on the first day of pre-season. But we're pretty confident we'll build a group. It's not going to be the biggest group in the world, for sure. And we need luck with the injuries. But we think the quality will be there.
And you sort of mentioned there with the budget in place, it feels like you'll have to dip back into a few loans.
Sure.
When you're looking at that, how important is it when you see the likes of Max Harris and Sonny Cox last season, who were so brilliant and have developed so well and have gone back to their respective clubs, you know, twice the player they were when they joined?
Yeah. I mean, that only goes in our favour as well. So what you do with those players when they're at your football club is massive. Both of them are really successful, and we've had some wonderful feedback from those clubs. And all that does, it sets up another loan. We won't take them for the sake of taking them. I've already done my research and due diligence, certainly on those two clubs, of players that might be available. We all know the clubs I've got good relationships with, but sometimes it can be a left field one. Who'd have thought I got Noah Chilvers from Colchester United, who would get a player on loan from Essex to Bath, but it worked. Look at Noah Chilvers now, worth probably £1 million as a player. I know some fans are not keen on it, but reality is we have to take loans, otherwise we can't field a big squad. What I have to make sure is the club, when the club we're loaning from, when we do get the player, it's not the one where he has to play all the time. There's going to be moments where he may not start, and there may be moments where we have to take him off when he's starting. It's how they react to that and understand it, that in the end when they're at Bath City, they're Bath City players. So we have to get that balance right, and I think we're good at it. I think we know the type. We've had I could reel them off all night here. The amount of successful loans we've had: Semenyo, Conway, Luke Southwood, who's come in. Look where they all are now, flourishing. And the players that have moved on as well and done ever so well. I see Donovan Wilson's left Sutton United, and I'm first on the phone to Donovan Wilson, but in reality, Donovan's not going to go National League South. He had a wonderful time with us, and we sold him and made some good money on Donovan Wilson. So we're good at developing players, whether that be a loan player or a player that wants to come in, progress and move on. I'm really happy with that. I want players to do that. I want players to be hungry. I actually want my staff members to do that as well. I want them to come in. So if you're Aaron, who's come in from a university, and you got your first couple of years at sports science, leading the group, leading the whole, it's his baby. One day if he wants to progress, then so be it. And that we'll look back on that fondly if he does. So yeah, for us it's about developing people as well as having good football players or good staffing.
I suppose as well, you mentioned it earlier in terms of integrating the academy more into your training sessions. Does that let you have a closer look at those players with a potential view to them being involved? Obviously there's the romance of having one of your own type player. You see someone like Ben Ford that came on towards the back end of last season. Is that an avenue that you think you'll look down as well?
Well, I have to have open eyes to it. And we all know the challenges with that, and the programme up there understands where I'm coming from. When the league gets tougher and tougher, the level goes up higher and higher. So in reality, the level of the player that's going into our college setup is a little bit off where we would like them. But there may be a gem in there. We've seen Harvey Wiles-Richards go in, and he's flourishing, just signed a new contract over at Bristol City. Delighted for Harvey. You know, he played in goal for us at age 16. And who'd have thought that? And then he actually kept out Ryan Clark, if you remember, at that stage as well. So yeah, there's certain ones that may work. So I think it's important they come across and feel part of it. It's no good us having a programme at the college if we're not real with it. And it's the moment I put it to them, my idea, they were all over it, of course. And it'll give them a focus. It'll add to their programme in the week, something else, another developmental tool, learning about an opposition that the first team will be playing. Wouldn't it be wonderful they come down and watch the game after their morning game as well, so they can pull all that together and align it. And they can say they've been part of it, because what I haven't ever been able to do really in previous years is do 11v11 in training. That might sound absolutely bizarre, but it's all phases of play. So we have to turn it around, and we have to do three-quarter pitch, and we have to do defensive stuff, and then we have to do attacking stuff because we haven't got the numbers. I enjoy that. I love it. So to have 11v11 over there and see that happening live, I think it'd be invaluable to the group. And of course the youngsters will learn from it, and the coaches will. So I think that's a real positive thing.
You mentioned there about some of the natural obstacles that are in place, but this is still an ambitious football club. It's still an exciting time to be involved as a fan. Obviously, the women's team have just had their debut year. There are developments going on with the pitch. It's still an ambitious football club, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean what we need to see in the first team men's side, that we have to finish in a playoff spot, we have to try and get promoted. All those targets remain the same in a league that we know is going to be the toughest that we've ever played in, and that's reality. But you talk about the other stuff, so I really do want to mention the women's team because that's their debut season last year, and some of the wonderful stuff I was seeing, the way Matt took the team and the way they developed, the way they started off, and then you started to see a real character and personality in the team. Finishing second in their league is no mean feat, and it's stepping stones for them, and it's great to see them wearing the Bath City kit. We've got an identity out there in the women's game. Jane Jones has done some wonderful work with it as well, and that would just continue to progress and get better and better. I think with the potential of having a 3G pitch here, that, you know, if you'd asked me probably 5 years ago, of course I want a grass pitch, which is level with a pop-up sprinkler system, hybrid, all that sort of stuff. Reality is that a 3G pitch now, of the quality and the level they are, is something that's a must really at the football club. Twofold really. I don't think we lost on a 3G last year, so that tells you that really we're a team that does ever so well on 3G and the way we play, but also the income stream into the football club. But more important than that, people talk about that all the time, the amount of money that will be saved by the community programme, the foundation, going out and using the facility, but also our youth section. There's a huge youth section out there which we haven't been able to pull in yet, and I mean pull in by just seeing them here at Twerton Park training would be wonderful. Aligning the whole philosophy of the football club together right the way through, the girls teams to the young boys and the youth section, to the women's, to the men's, and we're all on an equal keel. We all work off the same values, we work off the same coaching and playing philosophy if we can as well, so there's real identity at Bath City Football Club. I think then as a fan, when you see all that happening, you can't be nothing but proud of your football club. I've said since I come in day one, this club's got some wonderful history. I was here as a player and played over 200 odd games. I spent over 10 years of my life at this football club now. It's a long time to spend at this football club. And I've seen real progression, believe me. Back in the days when we were playing, no disrespect, the way this club's moved on and off the field is nothing short of phenomenal. I feel proud to be part of it. I'll never rest on my laurels, and I know people inside this football club won't either. And that's why everyone here is for the right reasons. They're driving the football club in so many positive ways. We're sat here tonight with a shirt sponsor draw with 91 companies entering into that draw. That's a new record, it's phenomenal. We're out watching businesses now playing in a six-a-side tournament that Pete Headington has managed to put together so wonderfully well, and Carol, that it's out there, it's a great atmosphere, there's some fun enjoyment, there's a real competitive edge in it, and it looks great. I walked out a minute ago, the sun's shining, you know, that's your football club and you're manager of that football club, you can't feel nothing but proud. You go around talking to people, engaging yourself in them, and that's what we're all about. That is what we're all about as a football club. So all those things I've mentioned there will get stronger. Us as a first team will try every single week to win. I've said that. We're not going to, but it won't be because we want to try. And that connection all round in the football club. And the fans are the most important thing. They're the ones that pay the money. They're the ones that walk in the gate. To have that connection is really key.
Another season coming up. I'm sure it's a difficult question to answer, but are you looking forward to it?
Can't wait, honestly. The day I wake up and I'm not looking forward to going into work or a season, a new campaign, and that'll be it for me. But the energy, the enthusiasm's still there. When I sit with players and talk to them, they can see it in my eyes. And I have to be honest with myself, and I still, if not, got probably more energy for it. I want to bring some success to the football club, however may they look. We know the cup runs haven't been good enough. I'll be brutally honest about that. It's something we've addressed and something we need to be a lot better with. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing the Torquay and Yeovil fixtures list come out, the whole fixture list, the Christmas campaigns. Who you got on the first day of the season is always an exciting one. Are you home? Are you away? Looking forward to seeing Twerton Park packed out again. The boys wearing the new kit. Can't wait to see the new kit. I'm heavily involved with that design as well, and the vote's been out there for the away kit as well. So that's all going to look wonderful. The way the boys turn up, I pride myself on making sure the boys have got everything, and they don't need to worry about anything other than just training and playing. So the new training kit packages will be great for them. The training ground sorted, everything there will be ready, pre-season schedules done. So thoroughly looking forward to it, really can't wait. And I know the players we've got signed on are excited already as well.
Well, there's lots to look forward to, and we look forward to seeing you back again.
Cheers, Matt. Thanks, mate.